welcome back to my podcast, Blessed and Beautiful. I'm your host, Peyton Griffiths, and today we have my friend Brody on.
The Blessed and Beautiful podcast.
Yes.
Oh, on like the topic?
What do you
Wait.
mean?
You said on.
I don't know. I guess. Well, I always say on, Blessed and
Okay.
Beautiful.
On.
And
yes.
I did it with my friend. One time she's like, "Why do you keep saying on?" And I was like, "I don't know."
Because that's what we're on. We're on the Blessed and Beautiful podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm beyond honored to be here.
Well, thank you.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay. So I am a 16-year-old RCHS, Roane County High School student. And I've been going to the Grove for around, pretty sure about 7 years.
7?
Probably 7, yeah. I've been going here for a long, long time. Yeah, I used to do little summer camps at the old church where we would go to the pool in Oak Ridge, and it was a blast. And we had like this game room up at the top of the youth room. We had pool table, we had a ping pong table, and that's where we did all of our stuff. There was like couches up there. It was sick.
They need to add that back to
ours. They need to add that back ASAP.
All we have is awesome. A vending machine.
Yes, that works sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but it's working now.
I mean, at least we have cool lights, I guess.
Yeah, which is a plus. We literally have a full-on stage.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're very blessed to have a full-on stage.
Of course, as we always were.
Okay, so.
And, what else? What else is there about me? Let me think right here. Oh, my goodness. It has been, I think, I would say around 8 months since I was baptized, I would think. Because 6 months ago, I cannot do math in my head, but it was summertime. I do know that for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I was baptized. I'm beyond blessed to have had that happen and going along the journey, and that is what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
God's plan and what happens in your journey, not just mine, not just hers, yours.
So I actually got baptized too when we got back from beach camp.
That is true.
When we had like 15 baptisms in one church service,
and like 3 of them in the ocean while we were there.
See, I wanted to do it in the ocean, but I wanted my mom to be there, so
that's always fair.
It would have been fun though, like getting baptized in the ocean.
Yes, and actually, some of them they got baptized in the ocean.
Yeah,
they were rebaptized.
Yes,
because they just wanted to do
a lot of them were rebaptized.
Yeah, and it was awesome.
And then we had like that huge group photo out there.
Oh,
and then we had to like run back because it started like storming or something, I think, or raining.
Yep, because it was like the nick of time.
Yeah, and we were playing volleyball outside.
It was incredible. And like the whole like big youth room.
Yes, it was so full. And then like all of us at the altar.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And, that was incredible.
Yes, and JT like playing all the songs.
I remember when he tried to play Count 'Em.
Oh my gosh.
By Brandon Lake.
That was hilarious.
It was. I loved that he tried to do that because that is a killer song.
I love that song.
But it needs to have the full band.
Yes.
It can't just be done with a guitar and a singer.
Yes, and like we were all standing there in silence, like staring at
I was singing with my heart's content because I loved the song. I was like the loudest one in there.
Well, because I've heard that song, but it wasn't my favorite. And then after I listened to it more, I actually started liking it.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, but it was hilarious when he tried to play that song.
Yes, because it was a fast tempo song, and JT can spit bars, like incredible bars.
JT is such a good singer.
He is.
So yeah.
All right, where are we starting here?
Well, first let's talk about how excited we are for Winter Retreat this weekend.
Oh, Winter Retreat 2025 this weekend. We leave here on Friday. That
actually
I just
the
learned.
Best.
Yes. We both went there last year.
Yeah, we
didn't
did.
We? Yes, and
that was the first time I'd met you.
Yep.
We were on the bus, and you were doing like different impressions.
I'm a voice man. It was you and Zoe sitting in front of me.
It was me and Zoe, and you were sitting behind us.
Yep, and with the giant trash bag of like stuff right beside me.
Yeah, because we didn't have anywhere to put our suitcases, so we had to put them on the bus.
If that happens again this year, I'm driving to Camp Montville.
It was like insane because like all of our suitcases were there and they were falling in the floor.
It was miserable, but it was that was a fun ride.
Yes, it was.
I wonder if I'm going to sit behind this year.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm excited.
It'll be a
I think
blast.
it's gonna be fun.
It'll be so fun.
And Reagan was texting in our girls group chat, like the high school girls, and
Hmm.
she told us she's like, if y'all haven't signed up, you need to because we're gonna have some really good messages. And I'm like, okay.
Good
So
to
I'm
know.
excited.
It's very good to know.
Yeah.
Yes. And also, if you are not signed up for the winter retreat for the Grove yet, it is on their Facebook page. There's a link there. It is $100 a student, and there'll be tons of other info about what time we're leaving and what time we are leaving Camp Montvale, which will be in Maryville, and what time we will get back, and the places that we'll be doing, and the different activities that we'll be doing, and food will indeed be provided
Oh yeah.
with that $100. And by golly, it's shockingly good.
The cooks there are good.
They're actually super good. So if you're not signed up yet, make sure to get that signed up, and then we'll see y'all at the winter retreat. It'll be so fun.
I hope they have the climbing thing this year. You know what I'm talking about, the climbing thing.
Oh, the big tower thing that was in the middle
Yeah,
of like the
they
field.
didn't have that.
Oh my god!
Last year it was like shut down or something, and I'm
the
like,
whole obstacle course was.
yeah, literally all of it. But also, I hope it doesn't rain because it was really muddy last year.
Oh gosh!
It was
I
so
brought work
muddy.
boots.
Yeah, it was so muddy and so wet. It was insane.
I
And
will
I
not be.
underpacked.
I will not be bringing these. That is for sure. These glorious magnificents
This
that are
year-
already dirty.
Yeah, this year I need to overpack.
Yes.
I underpacked way too much last year, so
Overpack versus underpack.
yes.
What's the last thing that needs to
The
happen?
showers were terrible though.
Well, y'all were like.
Well, y'all had different. Y'all's were down at the bottom, and ours
Yeah.
were up at the very top. And luckily, we got to ride the van because you know
Of
we had the
course.
broken leg incident.
Yeah. Oh, Miss. I'm not gonna drop names, but Miss.
Yeah, so we got to actually like go up the hill and the thing while all the other
Yes.
girls had to walk.
Mm-hmm.
But this year I think we're definitely gonna have to walk. So
Okay. Yeah, that's a upside and a downside. No one's injured, but you'll have to walk.
yeah,
I wonder if do you think we'll switch cabins, like switch
I don't
sections?
know. I hope we'll
Maybe,
let y'all walk up.
Maybe we can negotiate where y'all are walking because I'm not doing that.
No, the hill's actually pretty like long.
Oh lordy, okay. Oh, I'm ready. Nevertheless, I'm ready.
To
I'm
walk up
absolutely
that
ready.
hill.
I'm ready for the whole thing. Ready for it in the long run. Now, where to
Okay,
next?
so how have you followed God's plan in your life and like your calling?
Now that right there is a question that I even today think about every day. I think about how am I going to uh oh, what's the word? I'm thinking of the word. Oh my goodness, it's right there. How am I going to live out? How am I going to live
Yeah.
out God's plan within my life? Now, believe it or not, where it all started was a lonely home alone time in Pensacola Beach, Florida. Was when it all started, and I started having that spark for Jesus. Don't know why. Don't even know how. I mean, I know how. It was Jesus. It was speaking to me. It was about time. I still went to the Grove at the time, but I never really like lived it out.
Yeah.
I was started at a very young age, where Philip, Pastor Philip, he was my neighbor at the time. He was my neighbor.
Oh really?
Yep, and that's how we were introduced to the Grove and all that stuff, and that was like the beginning of my calling. I didn't understand the full concept yet and whatnot. I've been asked, uh, are you a Christian? And then I didn't even know what that meant at the time. I was
Yeah.
like, I guess, because I didn't know how to respond to it. But then just recently, like it was probably I can't even think, probably 5ish years ago,
Yeah.
I'd say. That's when I started to, have the thought of, wow, God has a plan for me.
Yeah.
And it is my responsibility to live that out and to abide by his plan. And his plan, it's always a process.
Yeah.
That's what I always think, is that the plan, because that's what it is. It is the plan. Whoops, I'm gonna drop that overboard. Um, it's always a process. It's a process every single day, no matter
Yeah.
what ups and downs you go through. It's always a process. It's a process from when it begins and then when it never ends. It
Yeah.
actually never ends. His plan never ends because he knows uh, every step, every breath, every sniffle,
Mhm.
every blink, how many times you blink per day, and that's just his plan. And like I said before, his plan is not, sunshine and rainbows, 75 degrees during the fall.
Yeah.
It's always going to have trials because it tests you.
Yeah.
It tests your faith because that's
Yes.
what always strengthens you, and that's what his plan is for. And that's exactly, I will go to it right here, what Jeremiah 29:11 says. And it says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope." So that's saying, because he knows the plan that he has for you, the plans, plural, that sparks a hope. Because no matter what happened, you know that God has got you
Yeah.
throughout it all. And that's what gives you the future. And even through tough moments, like me personally, I can say that I'm going through a tough moment right now because I honestly am. I Last year was a cataclysm of events that really, really tested my faith. And I can say that I am stronger now
Yeah.
because of what has happened within those plans and how he put me through what I went through and how that strengthened my faith. And even then, I'm still trialed every single day.
Yeah.
Is it minor stuff? Yeah, but that can still strengthen you because it builds you up. It is a process. So that is what I believe about God's plan for you and how he has you no matter what. And he knows that you have a future, and that sparks hope inside of you.
Yeah, I was reading James. I just finished it. And I think it's like in chapter 1. Let me find it real quick. It was talking about how the testing of our faith is like a process. And I think that one was like a very important part of James. So let me see if I can find it.
Everything's a process, no matter what
Yes.
it is.
So yes, in chapter 1, literally like the second part after the greeting, it's talking about testing of your faith, and it says, in chapter 1, verse 3, it says, "For you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness, and let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing." I think that one is a good one because the testing of our faith, we have to trust God through the trials because I
Oh yeah,
think,
that's what gets you through the trials.
yes,
Yeah.
trusting Him. And I think that's where a lot of people kind of get mad and angry with him because they're like,
Mm-hmm.
"Why is this happening?" Because some Christians think like, or some people think when they like go into Christianity that it's just gonna be perfect, and that's like
Oh
the
my
complete
goodness.
opposite.
Yeah.
And you have to just trust God through the trials, and you can't like lose that faith and that trust because that's where a lot of people mess up, and
Is
then it's
keeping that
hard.
faith.
Yeah, it's hard for them
Mm-hmm.
to get back in that relationship with God
Mm-hmm.
after they've lost that faith. So
Because it can be the smallest thing. It could be, you know, something as simple as moving to a different house.
yeah,
You're at a different area. You're not used to your same environment. Maybe you move to a different church. That can really test your faith because it could be different than what you're used to,
yeah,
and it could be losing contact with a friend, with someone, thinking that like if they're not there, then what am I supposed to do?
yeah,
What am I supposed to do? And it's that faith that hinges on the relationship with Christ. Is
yes.
keeping that faith no matter what, because I always go back to um, what I've been told several times about of people reacting to my faith, and not just my faith, but others around me, is if I don't see it, I don't believe it.
Yeah, a lot of people say that.
And that's what faith is. You believe it without seeing.
Yes.
And if you think about it, faith itself sounds faithful. The word faith sounds faithful, and you can trust in that. Just faith. Even like if you meet someone named Faith, you're gonna trust that person with your life. And yeah. Anyways, going around the different points that I'm going at. That's all it hinges on is going through those tough times within God's plan is and keeping that faith in stone. And if you keep that even just like a sliver of faith that like God's got me no matter
Yeah.
what during those hard times, you will find that after that trial or trials are finished, your faith would have increased exceptionally.
Yes, it will be like stronger than ever. And I think
Exactly.
that's why it's important to look back and be like, yes, during that time, during that storm, it was hard, but I'm
But
glad I got
wow,
through
God
that.
got me.
Yes,
Yeah,
like, so, and then it kind of just like builds up your faith. And so the next time you go through a storm, you can look back and be like, okay, God got me out of that, so he can get me out of this.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And if you keep having that same mentality and that same amount of faith, you're going to, start to think, okay, I'm going through something, but this is going to benefit me in the end.
Yes.
Like, you know, and then you can even kind of expect, you say, God's going to put me through a trial one day. I'm still going to love him
Yeah.
no matter what.
Yeah.
And I keep going back to everyday things. Spilling a cup. That tests my faith because if something messes in my day, I get steamed. And that tests me every single day. Like if I get a question wrong on like an assignment, that tests me. That's a test. That is a
Yes.
test, and I just got to keep holding on to that faith, no matter what.
Yeah.
And it's a lot harder than it seems. A lot
Yes.
harder.
So, we're both teenagers,
Hmm.
and we both got to public schools, which we know is hard. It's not very. Yes, there are a lot of Christians at schools, at both of our schools, but there's also a lot of people, like just worldly people.
Hmm.
So, and worldly things, secular music,
Hmm.
the way that people act. So, how do you keep your relationship strong with God, even though you are like living in a public school and you're having to live in the world?
So believe it or not, whenever there is like an instance, because there'd be times where I would like even walk in a bathroom, and then there'd be stuff going on.
Oh yeah,
There'd be stuff going on,
that's public school for you.
and then either I I just literally like what I keep saying in my head is Jesus, 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 Jesus. I kid you not. Or I do what is said of the sin lust. Do not try to fight it. Don't try to persevere through it. Flee. Just
Yeah.
go. So like whenever I like something's happening, there's like a group of guys that are just doing absolutely horrible stuff and they try to get me involved with it, you know, I flee. I
Yeah.
just go. Is that coward? It's not even cowardly if you think about it. That's faithfully.
Yeah.
That's faithfully. We are told to like if I go back to the sin of lust. We're told to just flee from it because we cannot fight it. Because even if that even sliver amount of temptation of like the group of guys, they try to get me into something. We're gonna go to like Walmart at 3 a.m. in the morning and we're gonna like trash the place. Like no,
Like,
I'm fleeing.
yeah.
I'm fleeing from the flea market. That's what I'm doing. So that's my mentality when I see at it. I just try to stay away of it as much as
Yeah.
possible. And if people like see me as different, I know I'm different. I want to be
Yeah.
different. That's my whole thing.
Yeah. God called us to be set apart, and it's
Yes.
like I know a lot of teenagers struggle with it because they don't want to
Yeah.
be seen as different,
Hmm.
but that's what God called us to be, and we shouldn't be ashamed of following Him.
Exactly. Yes. And even I think ashamed that sparked something in me. Hold on. Is it this one? No, I don't think it
I read
is.
about it in Romans this morning. Here, I'll tell you about it. So, okay, so this is Romans chapter 1. It says, "For I am not ashamed of the gospel, for it is the power of God for salvation to everyone who believes, to the Jew first and also to the Greek."
Yes.
So,
So that being different, that feeds into the thing of being unashamed.
yes.
Because you are different, you are unashamed of what you believe. You are unashamed of how you believe. And how that benefits your life. You're unashamed to share that with everyone around you. So that's my goal, especially within like public schools, like you were saying, is to share what I love and what I believe because I am unashamed.
Yeah.
I believe what I believe, and I know that I am a better person because of it, and because of who God called me to be.
Yes.
Because that is me. That's who He made me to be. Is someone who is unashamed of who he is, and to show everyone of who he is.
Yeah. And we were talking about and I guess this kind of goes with you saying like it better, like it makes you better, like a better person. So we're talking about this in Sunday school, and it's like, why should we have faith? And like, why, I mean, why do we have faith? But why should we still do good works? And we should do good works because it makes us a better person, and that's what God called us to do.
Yeah.
And it helps share God's word, and it makes
Exactly.
us better because we have that faith and we do those good works.
Yes.
And not that we want to boast about that and
Mhm.
like brag about it and be like, oh, look at us, we did this. No, it because
Look
God
at how
called
much better
us.
I am.
Yeah, like yeah, but like, and I also feel like most things I talk about in my podcast are things that I struggle with. So
Mhm.
like, I'm like, don't think I'm perfect because none of us
Yeah.
are.
It says it. It says it in here. We
Yeah.
are not perfect.
Yeah, we are definitely we are not.
Yeah, because we're
Um,
all different. That's what makes us Christians. That we are different. That's the
Yeah.
whole thing about it.
So actually I wrote this down in my notes. It was talking about in chapter 1 of Romans, it was talking about they were filled with all manner of unrighteousness. Okay, wait. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, so of unrighteousness, evil, um, covetousness, I think that's what it says, malice. They are full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, maliciousness. They are gossips, slanderers, haters of God, insolent, haughty, boastful, inventors of evil, disobedient to parents, foolish, faithless, heartless, ruthless. And I put kind of down in my notes, like, I was like, these people, they were focused on the world and the things of the world, not God.
Mhm.
But at the same time, we all are sinful. And
Yeah.
the wages of sin is death, which is where it said that at the end. And it's like, though they know God's righteous degree that those who practice such things deserve to die, they not only do them, but give approval to those who practice them. So, unlike we all sin and we all deserve death, but because of God's grace and His mercy and our faith, and we trust Him and we get saved, we don't have to die.
Yeah, we were
because of
granted
those
salvation.
things. Yes.
Yes, of course.
So,
And oh dang, I had a thought in my mind and it went right away. Dang it. Okay. Oh crap. What were we saying earlier?
About what?
Before that.
Okay, before that we were talking about how like why we should do good works and what God calls us to do to be like set apart and different.
Oh dang. Okay. Before that.
Um,
Do you remember?
you were talking about how like being unashamed of God makes us a better person because like we shouldn't be unashamed because it makes us like better.
Gosh, dang, I can't think of anything. But other than that, along with that, I am going to share Proverbs. Let's see, Proverbs 19:21-23.
Okay.
So, which says, can I go ahead and go on?
Yes, you can
Okay.
go.
Which says, many are the plans in the mind of a man, which means our own personal plans.
Yes.
But it is the purpose of the Lord that will stand. What is desired in a man is steadfast love, and a poor man is better than a liar. The fear of the Lord leads to life, and whoever has it rests satisfied. He will not be visited by harm. So that goes around to saying we have our own plans,
Yes.
right? You know, like many of us high schoolers, we have plans of what we want to do once we get out of school.
Yes.
We know what college we want to go to, what things we want to major in, what things we want to minor in, even what things we want to study right now to prepare us for that in the future. And then what career do we want? That may
Yeah.
change several times, but still, we always have our own plans. We have plans to go out to the grocery store. I have a plan to go out to wash my car after I'm done with this. So we can get majorly caught up within our own plans.
Yeah.
We can log down every step that we're going to make from now until we're 37.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's God's plan that matters.
Yeah.
He knows what's going to happen and he knows what's best for us.
Yes.
And it is our responsibility and our decision to abide by that.
Yes.
Which in the end, that will lead to us being satisfied. And that's what it says right here. Whoever has it rests satisfied. So if we live out God's plan, he knows what's best for us and what's going to happen. Dalton,
Yeah.
very good example.
Yes.
Very good example.
He thought he had a plan, but God's like, no, I have a better one.
Exactly.
Yes.
And like he went from like here to here. Like
yes.
Exponentially. He is just, I love Dalton to death. I love
Yes,
Dalton.
me
If you're
too.
watching this, I love you, man.
He
You're
normally does
actually
watch
awesome.
them, so
Awesome. Love you, man. You're awesome. Okay.
I love that it said in there, with the fear of the Lord leads to life. So if we respect God and we follow his plan,
Yes.
it will lead to a good life, not a perfect life, but if we just follow his plan, we'll have peace knowing that he controls all of it. And I tell people a lot that, like, they're like, well, I want to do this. And I'm like, well, I know you want to do that, but it might not be what God knows that you need. And I say that God knows. God knows what you need.
And he knows.
And you don't know what you need, honestly, yourself. So
Yes.
I think it's better to trust him.
Yes, 100%. Because he also knows what's best.
Yes.
Like I said. And one thing that I found just by reading it right there is whenever someone just looks at that and says, the fear of the Lord leads to life, people tend to take the word fear out of context a lot, even especially biblically, of fear of the Lord. So when you said when people have respect, that's what that means.
Yeah.
That's what that means. Is even I'm going to give a real world example. Driving a car, it's scary driving. It's naturally scary. On the way here, I was scared going through the different wavy roads. But with that fear, that brings respect to the car, to the vehicle, that like, okay, I need to be really careful. And that fear can lead to respect, just like you said.
Yeah.
And that leads to life, and whoever has it is satisfied.
Yeah. And so before I knew what the fear of the Lord meant, I was like, are we supposed to be scared of God? And I was like, but that doesn't make sense, because why would God want us to be scared of him when he wants us to love him and rest in his plans and his goals for us? And I'm like, I don't understand that. So I think I don't know who was talking to, maybe Dalton actually, but I was like, what does this mean? And he's like, so he kind of explained it as like, we need to respect God and his plans for us because he knows best.
And just like you said, that's what I mean by people normally take it out of context.
Yeah.
Is being scared of God.
Yeah.
Which God is around everything, and he knows what we're gonna do. And could that be a little bit frightening? If you look at it from a certain angle, possibly, but it's being scared and having fear, in my mind, are two different things.
Yeah.
Because fear can lead to respect, fear can lead to trust, but scared, it's just scared.
Yeah.
Like ghost emoji scared. That's what I'm talking about.
But yeah, also I was reading before, and it said, listen to advice and accept instruction that you may gain wisdom in the future. That is verse 20. I was just kind of reading that before while you were talking. And I like that, because listen to advice and accept instruction. Not saying listen to everyone, because you have to be careful about who you're listening to.
Oh, 100%.
Because people will give you wrong, like, idea, I guess. Like, also some people, you have to be careful when you're reading the Bible too, like who you ask about it.
Yeah.
And like if you use like websites or something, you have to be careful like what you're looking at.
Oh, especially websites.
Yes, for information, because they will take it so like out of context and say the complete wrong thing.
Oh, like that's been one thing that can really alter your walk with Christ, is getting the wrong advice.
Yeah.
And even one time I was actually told to not rely on God for everything,
Whoa.
and that I need to start doing things myself. I was like, well, here's the thing. I will rely on God because He knows
Best. Yes.
everything. Like
Yeah.
literally what we're talking about, He knows everything that we're gonna do. So of course I'm gonna rely on Him.
Yeah.
And whatever happens, it's God's will.
Yeah.
And how does that one? Let your will be done. I was thinking of a different song.
I love that song.
Yes,
That's like my favorite part of that song.
Yes,
because
oh
it's
my
like,
gosh.
let your will be done. And
Yes.
like, I pray every day that God will use me, and I'm like, I don't really care how you use me. I'm like, just let me be a light to others so that they can see you through me. And I'm like, because there's a lot of people out there that don't know Jesus, and I think as Christians, especially, like I've grown up in church my whole life. I think like everyone knows who God is, but but like as you get older, you start to realize, oh, it's not actually like that. Which is why I pray, like, God, just use me however you want. Like, don't use me in a specific way.
Yeah, because that you put it perfectly. He will use us the way that He feels the need to use us.
Yes.
However He wants to use us. Maybe He'll use us to go help people, I don't know, bring food to people.
Yeah.
And tell them that, like, hey, God bless you. Jesus loves you, like that kind of thing. Or heck, or even speaking in front of the United States, saying, hey, listen here, God is pretty dang cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's all up to Him of how He uses us, and that is a perfect thing to pray for.
Yeah, and you also have to realize that when you do pray that, you have to be ready to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, you have to expect it.
You have to be ready to expect it and to be uncomfortable, because you're not always going to be comfortable with what God calls you to do. And that's a hard one, because you might feel ashamed of it, but you shouldn't, because I know a lot of people, they won't follow God's plan because they're ashamed of it.
Yeah.
And they won't do like His will because they're just ashamed of it and stuff. So I think that's good though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna
That's
give
good.
a story from myself. It was eighth grade graduation. And I was told to do the prayer before the whole ceremony. That was probably one of the biggest tests of all time for me, because like the school, it had all of my friends plus their parents in one gym. It's like,
That's
oh my,
nerve-wracking.
I know. I was like, oh my gosh, like, should I seriously do this? Like, do I want them to know that I like this? Or like, what if I do this, will I say the right things? Will I stutter? Will I say something that completely goes against what I believe? I did it, and by golly, God used the heck out of me there. And I felt it. And was it nerve wracking? 100%.
Yeah.
It was beyond nerve wracking. I was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But it was 100% worth it.
Yeah.
In the long
You just
run.
have to be ready to like do the uncomfortable things.
Yes.
Because it's not for you, it's for God.
Yeah.
And I mean, yes, it's going to benefit people out there, probably benefit yourself, but most of all, importantly, is for God.
100%. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything else on the agenda?
I don't think so. Do you have anything else you would like to add?
I'm excited for this weekend.
Me too.
I am.
It's gonna be so good. It's like, I can't wait for beach camp too.
I can't believe they already posted the link and information to that.
I know. I'm like, y'all are getting started. I'm like, after this weekend, they're probably gonna have winter retreat for next year.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, we get right back home. We see a Facebook post that winter retreat 2026 is up and going.
They're like planning it. I mean, I love that.
Reagan is on top of it this year.
Yes, Reagan is like the best though.
Yes,
she really keeps that church like going.
100%. She's the whole coordinator.
I think if it wasn't for her, I think Phil would have a hard time like doing the board and stuff.
Oh yeah, yes.
I mean, I love Philip. I love him to death, but I think if it wasn't for Reagan, he would be struggling.
It'd be hard to show things.
Yes,
it'd be so hard to show things.
Yes.
Well, again, for the 6th time and even the 14 times before, this even started. Thank you so much for having me
You're
here.
so welcome. Thank you for coming on.
Of course. And no matter what, trust God
Yes.
and whatever He has planned for you or y'all, how many of y'all there could
His
be.
plan is so good, y'all. You just have to
Yes.
trust it.
And like I say in my own personal videos that I make, stay safe, stay blessed. Love you all. See
Love
ya.
you all.